Hello and welcome to the news update on AFRICUNIA TV, bringing you update from the African scene, the foreign scene and the world of sport. I am Deborah Ezeh. Thanks for joining me. Starting out from South Africa, less than 2 months before South Africa begins municipal elections, President Ramaphosa campaigns for voters registration and to vote for the ANC in Soweto. The municipal poll on November 1st will test whether the party, which freed South Africa from the racist apartheid regime, can overcome a situation so dire that members and supporters themselves are losing patience. Cyril Ramaphosa, however, says he is rest assured about the vote. Moving on, in Mali, Transitional Prime Minister Chodrel Miguel allured to a potential military partnership between his country and the Russian campaign company Wagner, raising French concerns that potential Russian involvement would compromise their ongoing military operation in the country. Russia has denied negotiating a military presence in Mali. According to a French source familiar with the matter, the junta in power in Bamako is nevertheless studying the possibility of a contract with Wagner on the deployment of 1,000 Russian paramilitaries to train the country's armed forces and ensure the protection of its leaders. And in Algeria on Sunday buried Abdelaziz Bouteflika, the North African country's longest-serving president, at a cemetery for its independence heroes, but without the honors accorded to the predecessors. Bouteflika passed away on Friday, aged 84, after a career which took him from being the world's youngest foreign minister to one of its oldest head of states, but ended with a humbling fall from power. The veteran strongman had lived as a recluse since quitting office in April 2019 after the military abandoned him following weeks of street protests sparked by his bid to run for a 5th presidential term. An update from Guinea, full figure of the mobilization against the 3rd term of former President Alpha Condé, received a triumphant welcome in the streets of Conakry. The triumphant return of Guinea of the full figure turned into a demonstration of thousands of people which caused a monstrous traffic jam September 18th in Conakry. Guinea's ruling junta ruled out exile from detained former President Alpha Condé and said transition towards civilian rule will be done in accordance with the will of the people. The statements from the ruling council came in defiance of international pressure for Condé's release and a 6-month timetable for election after a coup on September 5th sparked global condemnation. And in Nigeria, on the COVID-19 updates, the permanent representative of Nigeria to the UN, Professor Tijani Muhammad Bande, says Nigeria will join other world leaders to push for global COVID-19 vaccine equity at the ongoing UN General Assembly high-level meetings. Muhammad Bande told the news agency of Nigeria in New York that President Muhammadu Buhari will join other global leaders to push for global vaccine access. The Nigerian envoy said that the issue of equal access to vaccines was paramount at the 76th section of the General Assembly based on its theme. And more updates from the Nigerian scene. There was a resurgence of violence in the southeast yesterday after weeks of respite in killing and attacks on government and security facilities. In Anambra State, unidentified gunmen shot and killed 3 policemen at a checkpoint in the commercial city of Onitsha. According to a source, the incident happened around 10 a.m. in Ukebu or Rafita Street, Ezeh Awada area of Onitsha. It was gathered that the gunmen, believed to be members of the indigenous people of Biafra, got to the checkpoint in a white Sienna bus and took the policemen unawares as they shot and killed their victims. The latest killing is happening 10 days after President Muhammadu Buhari paid a surprise visit to Imo State, considered to be the hub of IPOB's operation in the region. And away from the African scene down to the foreign scene, France has cancelled a meeting between Armed Forces Minister Florence Parly and a British counterpart planned for this week after the Australia scrapped a submarine order with Paris in favor of a deal with Washington and London. Parly personally took the decision to drop the bilateral meeting with British Defence Secretary Ben Wallace. The scrapping of the multi-billion-dollar submarine contract struck in 2016 has triggered a diplomatic crisis, with Paris recalling its ambassadors from Washington and Canberra. France claimed not to have been consulted by its allies, while Australia says it had made clear to Paris for months its concerns over the contract. And in New Zealand, Australia's New South Wales state reported its lowest rise in daily COVID-19 cases in more than 3 weeks as some lockdown restrictions were eased in Sydney, the state's capital, and higher vaccination levels. NSW Premier Gladys Berejiklian said 935 new cases have been detected in the state, the lowest daily tally since August 27th, and down from 1,083 on Sunday. The state reported 4 more deaths. Australia has largely lived in COVID-0 for much of the pandemic, recording 1,167 deaths and some 87,000 cases. About 56,000 cases have been registered since mid-June, when the false Delta infection was detected in Sydney. And we move to the world of sports, where Celtic goalkeeper Hart held his hand up to the supporters after a 1-0 defeat by Livingston left them 6th in the Cinch Premiership table. That Hart was Celtic best player, making excellent starts from Jank Fitzwater and Alan Forrest, was a telling fact from another disappointing away day for the club. Celtic fans were given tickets to an away game for the first time since March 4, 2020, when Tom Rogic netted the stoppage time equalizer at the same venue. And finally, Pep Guardiola says Manchester City will have to field several young stars against Wycombe Wanderers as the club continues to struggle with injuries. Aymeric Laporte, John Stones, Rodri and Oleksandr Zinchenko all missed Saturday's Premier League clash with Southampton, as City were held to a goalless draw at the Etihad. And that's it on News Update today. Don't forget to download the Join Team and Pangram app on your mobile devices from Google Play Store and the App Store to stay updated and connected. Once again, I'm Deborah Ezeh. Many thanks for watching.